Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello everyone and welcome to Getting Started with Constant Contact. So today we're going to look at how you use your Constant Contact account. You've all got trials, so that's what we're going to look at today. So quickly before we start, I'll just let you know that everyone who's joined has joined on mute, but you can still ask me questions by tapping into the questions box, which you will find in the GoToWebinar control panel. So if you tap your questions in there, I'll be able to see who's asked what, and I'll be able to answer those. Now what I'll do is I'll save those up for the end. So let's get started. What we're going to cover today is your trial account. So remember, you've all set up a trial account with me. I've sent you details of those. If you can't remember what the details are, let me know, email me. I've set them up at different times, so you'll have different amounts remaining on your trial, and for you to know how much time you've got left, you'll need to log into your account and it will tell you how many days you've got left in the trial. So have a look at that, and once we've been through this today, you'll be able to go in there and try some of the things, or try everything I've shown you. The next thing we'll cover is just a quick reminder on why email marketing. I know that a few of you have seen some sessions from me lately, but I think it's always handy to have a reminder as to how email marketing can help you to grow your business, but also more important than that, or as important, help you to build relationships, because that's the main thing, isn't it? Business comes from the relationships that you build. The last thing I'll do is show you how Constant Contact works. So we'll go into an account and I'll show you how to set up an email, how to create a template, how to set up an email, how to schedule it and send it, and I'll show you some other bits and pieces which are quite exciting that I love about the tool that you can use as well. As you can see, the webinar is being recorded. I will send it to you. It takes a little while for it to download from the webinar software and for me to put it in a place, upload it to my YouTube channel. So it takes a little bit of time, but I will send that to you as soon as it's ready. Quick reminder, if you can't remember where to connect with me, there are all my details on the screen. I'm not going to go through my background. You've all met me and you've all heard me talk about me, but here are the places that you can connect with me on social media, and also my email list, and obviously you've got my website address there. So let's get started. First impressions matter, okay? When your email lands in someone's inbox, they're going to think about whether what they see is enticing enough, or nice enough, or branded enough for them to look at it and go into it in a bit more detail, because people make snap judgments. We all think that we don't like to judge, but that never read a book by its cover is quite true. We do make snap judgments. So what should your email be like? What should your first impression be? Should it be this, or should it be this? Like, if you look at the two examples, the one on the right hand side of the screen is a very nicely designed branded email versus the example on the left, which is just from a normal email service provider like Outlook, Yahoo or Gmail. So the one on the right looks better, it gets you noticed, you can use your brand's logo, you can use your brand colours, include graphics, everything that really helps you stand out in people's inboxes. So for all those reasons, do use an email service provider to do email marketing the right way. Quick reminder about what email marketing is. So at its base level, it's all about delivering professional communications. So it's making sure that you get great looking branded emails with no grammatical spelling errors into the inbox. You want to do that to a targeted audience. And this is important because someone can easily report your emails as spam or delete them. You need to make sure that the individuals that you add to your email list expect to receive a communication from you, and setting that expectation is really important. Next, it needs to contain information that the recipient finds valuable. So just because you've got permission to communicate to someone doesn't mean that you'll be successful with email marketing. you also need to send the right information to the right people on your email list. And knowing what your audience needs or wants can be tough. Is it promotional? Is it informational? Is it a combination? If you're not sure, you may want to ask your list. Send them a little survey, ask them on social media, or if you've got a team, when your staff interact with them, ask them, because they will tell you. And the last thing is, it needs to look great in any inbox. With so much email being read on mobile, in fact, over half of emails are opened on mobile devices, you need to create an email that will look good on a laptop, a desktop, and a mobile device. Why email marketing? Well, it really is hard to beat. It's where everybody is these days for everything, in terms of updates, newsletters, sending information, to and from your family members. But more than that, people read it. So 88% of people regularly check email on their smartphones. That's more than social media or videos, and 91% of people check their emails daily. It's reliable. It gets delivered 90+% of the time. Now compare that to Facebook. We've all heard about the algorithm changes in Facebook and how engagement is plummeting. Not just on Facebook, on Instagram too. There's a big lot of noise at the moment about engagement on Instagram having just plummeted. So think about that when you're looking at email, and think about the fact that it gets a 90+% deliverability rate, which means that more people see your message, and it works. So it's got 3 times the conversion rate of social media. And for every £1 that you spend on email marketing, there's an average of a 42% return on that. So it just works, and it helps you to get your message in front of the right people. Now, before we get going, I just will let you know, and I will go into this more detail at the end, but there is an offer for you that because you've taken out your trials with me. So this is the offer, which I will remind you of at the end. So you can save 30% off your first 3 months with Constant Contact with that code SAVEQ319, and you enter that code at checkout, but I'll remind you of that offer at the end. So why do I love Constant Contact so much? Well, rather than tell you about it, I'm going to show you. So I'm going to go into Constant Contact and show you why I love it. So let me just make sure you can see that I have changed my screen. Maybe it's taking a little time to catch up. Okay. It's not catching up, and I can see that you can't see my screen. Let me just try and share my screen. Oh, I don't want to start the webcam. But I've started the webcam. Oh, right, I've just realised that you can't actually see my screen. Right. There we go. Now you can see my screen. So you didn't see all the slides that I put up, which is rather unfortunate. But what I'll do is I'll send this presentation out with the recording when I get through to it. So here is the Constant Contact dashboard. I've already logged in. This is my demo account, and you can see that across the top you've got some different options. So you've got campaigns, contacts, reporting, sign up forms, library, and integrations. So there's quite a few things here, but for the purposes of this and getting you started, we're going to focus on creating an email, and you can do that really easily by clicking on this create button. You can see you've got a list of options here, and there are some quite exciting things in here that you can also use for business, but I'm going to show you how to create your email first, because this is the stumbling block that businesses come across, is that they get into an email marketing tool and they don't understand how to create a really great looking email. So let's click on that, and what it's going to do is it's going to take us through to a place where we can choose some templates, and I'm going to choose this one here, which I'm going to now make to modify to look like an email that's come from me. And if you're on my list, you'll know that my templates, my colours are green, purple and green. So I'm going to show you how I create my templates and how I make my emails look like my website, like my social media, and make it more coherent. So here is the template that's been brought up. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the email address that this goes from so that I remember to do that. And this is in this box, you can change your, create your subject line. You can create your pre-header, and you can also write what your from name is, and you can pick the email address you want it to come from. So perhaps you've got a couple of different emails that you're using. So I'm going to click save on that. So we're going to design this email first so that it looks like it's coming from me. So across here on the left, you can see 3 tabs: build, images, and design. So click into the design email, and what I'm going to do first is change the outer background color. Now I'm going to try and get as close to my purple as possible, which that looks like. So that's changed the outer background color. I want to keep the inner background color white. That's this bit here. So the background is white. And I like to use the Calibri font, which is here. So I'm going to change everything to Calibri. And because emails get read on mobile phones a lot, more than half of the time, I'm going to change the size of the font to 16 point so it looks good on mobile devices. The other thing I'm going to do is change my link colours. I haven't got my exact green, so let's pick this one here because I like the green, and I'm going to make it bold. My buttons and dividers, again, I'm going to pick the green, and you can see that it's changed this outer border here, but I'm going to change that back, and I'll show you how in a minute. So you do all of your main universal changes in this design font design tab, and then you can change things as you go along. So I'm going to make my headlines the purple color, and I'll leave my feature article as grey. Brilliant. So I want to change this inner border. I think what I'm going to have to do is actually make that purple and then change my individual buttons. So this is coming along nicely now. This is got my colours in, it's got my font in, so you can see that it's taking shape. Now don't forget, if you have any questions at any point, tap them into the questions box, which is in the go to webinar control panel, and I will go through them at the end. Right, so I've got this how I want it. I've got all my dividers, I've got my links, all the colours added. Next thing that I want to do is I want to put in my logo or my header here. So if you remember correctly, if you're on my newsletter list, I have this header, and what I'm going to do is click and drag it, and I'm going to drop it over that box. And you can see how simple this is. It drops it, and it's sized it to that box, but actually looks a bit small, right? So I'm going to take the 2 arrows here, the two-headed arrow, and I'm going to click on it and drag it and make it the width of the email. So that's starting to look really nice now. I'm not entirely happy, I don't want this volume a month thing, so I'm going to click on this little wheel here and click on the delete button, and that deletes that. So you can see now, if you're on my list, I don't always have 3 things in my newsletters, but you can see how this is starting to look and feel like it's coming from me. So we haven't finished building this just yet, so there are a couple of other things that I want to talk to you about. So one great thing about email marketing is that when you send out something interesting, people often want to share it with other people like them. They think that it's useful to other people. They will share it with them. So a really handy thing to include social links. And there are two types within Constant Contact. There is the social options that give your readers the opportunity to share your content on their networks. And then there are the social buttons that direct your readers to your social networks. So what we're going to do right now is to insert an option for your readers to share on their social networks. And you can do both things through this one button here. And again, all I'm going to do is click and drag it. I'm going to click and drag it, and then where I see that pink line and I'm happy that that's where I want it to be, I'm going to release it. So you can see here it looks like social buttons that you want to promote your networks on. But if you click this edit button on the left hand side, pops up another menu, and there's an option here for you to allow your readers to share pages. So share on their pages. So if you select that, you can see that these have changed immediately now. Share, tweet, share. So that's one thing that really I recommend that you do, because it gives your readers a chance to share the stuff that they find really useful, but it gives you the opportunity to get in front of their networks. Okay, so hopefully we're good with that. We happy with that? I think so. Okay, the next thing that I want to show you, sometimes when we look at emails on our mobile phones, they don't download the images straight away, right? So you have to ask it to download the images, and I guess this is a way for you to save a bit of data. So perhaps people can't see the nice images in your email. So you want to give them the option of looking at your email in an online version, and we can do this really easily. So all you need to do is bring across a text box, and again, where you see a pink line that you want to drop it in, you just release that there, and you can see how easy that click and drag is. Click into the box you're editing it, and what I'm going to do is highlight all the text and delete it, and then go to this insert button and select view as web page, and it pops up this menu. This text is completely customizable, so you can change that to whatever it is that you want. I'm going to leave that as it is, and I'm going to put it in the center of that. So that's the top of my email done. What I do want to do, and you can do this individually, is I want my call to action, the thing that I want people to do the most, to stand out. So I'm going to click on that button, and what I'm going to do is change the color. This would be more of a, let's see if I can get it, this would be more of a lime green for my color. Let's pick that one that's close enough. That's a little bit hideous, but you can see that it's changed the color of the button without changing any of the dividers and the border. You can also make the text bigger. Like I said, being read on mobiles, it'd be better if it's bigger, and I'm going to make this match the other font in my email. So you can see how this is building here, and what you're doing is creating this template that you can use again and again. The last thing that I want to show you on here in terms of building your template is, again, that chance for you to interact with your readers on your social networks. So we're going to, again, go to this block and bring in, oh, I may not be able to, let's have a look and see, I might have to put in a spacer there. Oh, let's put in a little bit, you can see text. Okay, so I normally type in let's get social. Let's get social. and we're going to center that and make it bold. So once I've done that, I can again go to my social options and click and drag them. I'm just going to do this. Oh, no. Let's undo. I can't actually see because of my colours. Oh, there we go. Right, so that's where my social options are going to go. And you can add more in here. So if you click on there and edit, you can add networks. So you can see you've got Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube there. And all you do is copy and paste links to your social pages. And once you've done it once, it will pull through that information every time you use this social block setting, the social blocks in your email. So it doesn't matter if you create a new template. Once you've filled in these details once, it will pull it through on every other email. So I'm just going to click done with that. So now you can see we've got a really good email template to start building out an email that we want to send. It's really quick and easy to edit everything. So wherever you want to edit, hover over that. You can see that there is a blue line that appears. You click into that box and that's where you start editing. The same with buttons. So if you want to add a link, this menu will pop up. You can link to a web page. You can link to an email address so people can email you directly from within your newsletter. Or you can link to a document. So perhaps you've got something that you want people to download. It might be a tip sheet or a white paper or something that you want them to have. You can actually upload your document to the library, which is here in Constant Contact, and link to that document directly from your email. Inserting images, really easy again. So I've got this image here. All I need to do is click and drag it across to this image. You can see that the block turns pink and I just drop it there and it sizes it to the block. So you can see that that's really simple to do. That's really it. When you've done the main editing, you've got the basis of the template for your email, and what you can do is rename it. So you click on the campaign name there and you can see that it says Untitled, and I'm going to rename it Newsletter Template, and you save that. And that is as simple as it is. Just all it takes for you to create your email. If you do have these links here, these text links, again, if you want to add a link to that, all you do is highlight it and you go to this link button up here. And in this case, edit it, and you can see that it's got a little hash there. You can change this text to display as you want, and you can link it to a URL. So that's if you want to link it to a web page. If you remove the link and then go back into here, you can see that the three options that you had previously come back to you. So if you want them to download a document, then you can pick document and it will take you to this place, and you can see there's a document there. We can insert that, and that now has become a link to download that document. Incidentally, you can do the same with images, and I always recommend you add a link to the images in your emails because that's where people click the most. And again, here we go, we can link this, and because we're linking to a document there, I'm going to link to that same document. And now when that email goes to somebody, what will happen is when they click on this picture, they'll be able to download that document. Okie dokie, I'm just going to have a sip of water. Okay, quick reminder, keep the questions coming. If you've got any questions at all, tap them into that questions box and I will go through them at the end. Right, so once you have your template, you're ready to create your newsletter. And what you can do is go back to this campaigns bit, and you'll see a really neat thing, which means that you don't have to keep copying and finding that template if you want to do that. So we're going to go to create, and we're going to go to email. And does this? There we go. So recent. So you can see the template is saved as a recent email. And rather than me going to try and find it, I can just go there, click on that, and now it'll open up and it will ask me to rename it because I'm copying this email. So just while it's loading, there we go, newsletter template. So I'm going to rename it July newsletter. Ooh. And now I'm ready to start creating my July newsletter. And again, just go through systematically, change what you need to change by clicking into the blocks and editing them the way you want to edit them. So you can change your titles, change your links, everything that you want to change. Remember that if you want to add anything, so maybe this time round you want to add an additional block, well, you can do that very easily. So here, down here are some of your layouts, and you can click and drag a block very easily. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to add it there. So you can see what it's done. It's created an identical block to this one, and it's put it in there. And actually I want another divider, so I'm going to go here, hit this wheel, and I'm going to copy it, and then get this crosshairs, and I'm going to click and drag it down in between the blocks so it divides it up nicely and it keeps that consistent look and feel. So once you're happy with this and you've saved it, the next thing to do is to check and preview it. Okay, so here's the thing. You can create a fantastic looking email, but sometimes when we're pressured or pushed for time, we might forget to add some links, or maybe we got disturbed and we were in the middle of typing something and we didn't finish the sentence. So any number of things could happen which make your email look bad. And the whole thing is that you want a really great looking email to land in people's inboxes. So this up here is a little savior. So you can see that you can preview it, you can send a test, or you can check for errors. So I'm going to click the check for errors first, because I know this is going to bring up lots of things because I haven't finished this off. But you can see that it said there are 7 links that are missing something. So there it's got 10 places where there is placeholder text. You need to change that. There's a placeholder image. Actually, everything that other bit's fine, but look at all these things that you've missed out. So this is a good thing to do, and this pulls through anything that you might have missed, but it doesn't pick up typos, right? So I find that looking at this on the same screen sometimes doesn't help me. So what I like to do is to preview it again to see what it looks like. And in here, what I can do is I can look at it. I can take someone from my email list and put their contact details in there. And this is great if you're doing some whizzy things like putting in particular information about their account. So maybe they've been a customer for it's their anniversary of being a customer, and you want to send them something nice. So special information. This will show you what it looks like to that particular person. The last thing that I do is I send myself a test. And what I do is, have I clicked the wrong thing? Send myself a test. I did. I think I clicked the preview thing again. I send myself a test. Okay, and I wanted to talk to you about a new feature, but it seems to not have appeared in my demo account. So again, it will let you add up to 5 email addresses and add a note. And the new feature that's come out just very recently, which I suspect is why I haven't got it in here, is a mailbox preview. So 70% of emails either go to Outlook, Gmail, Yahoo, whatever the Apple one is. There's one other one, I can't remember. And what the inbox preview does is it lets you see what your email looks like in those inboxes. So it will show you what it looks like in Outlook, Yahoo, Gmail. And it's provided by Litmus, and I know someone was asking me about Litmus at some point, and it's $10 a month, and you get 5 reports a month. But you'll be able to do that right from within this test thing. So when you've sent yourself a test, what you'll be able to do is look at what the email looks like to a recipient. And what I do is I go through and I test every single link that I've put in there, and I look at it on my mobile because I seem to pick up typos more easily on my mobile. So I read it through on my mobile to make sure that I haven't got any glaringly obvious mistakes. Okay. There's a really new feature that I wanted to talk to you about as well. I did look at this earlier, and it is here. It's another great feature that has been I think it's out now, it's introduced now, is archived newsletters. So I don't have any sent newsletters in this account, but once you send newsletters, you can archive them and you can actually make them available on your website. So if you're looking for content to put on your website, you can actually publish, I think it's up to 100 emails that you've sent on your website. And that feature, I believe, is $5 a month. But it's really cool way to get people who may be interested in your emails and not sure what content you share. It's a great way for them to access those emails and have a look at past things that you've done. And it's an encouragement for them to join. So I think that's a really cool feature. It's gives you another way to I guess show what you're doing with your emails, and particularly newsletters. If you send out a regular newsletter that's got really valuable information in it, those are the things that I would use in this archive newsletters to put on my website. Okay, I'm just going to, before we go back and I'll show you how to schedule the email once you've set it up, I just want to take you into contacts. This is where your subscribers live, and you can see that I've got 2 lists here, and you can add people quite easily to your contacts, and you can do that by typing in one at a time or typing and pasting. You can upload from a file. So generally, when I do a webinar, I will upload everyone who registered for it from a file so that I can send them the follow-up. You can also import from Gmail, Outlook, and other apps. So this is where your lists, where your contacts live, and you can view it in list view or you can view it in contact view. And you can see all the lists here. There's a really great feature called tags. I don't have a tag, I have tags in here, but you can tag contacts with various topics or various interests, and when you send an email you can narrow it down by those tags. So that's contacts. So let's go back to this July newsletter that we've created. Go back. Right, so we're going to go back into this July newsletter. So let's imagine we've put all of our content in there, we've tested it, made sure everything's working. So now we're ready to send it. And often you are not putting together your newsletter the moment that you want to, right before you want to send it. And the really cool thing about Constant Contact is it lets you schedule emails. So this is the page that you do that. I'm going to pick the general interest list. There's other things here. So if you have a really, a larger list, you can A/B test or split test. So you can test different things like the subject or the content and see what works better. Make sure that your from name is correct, the email address is correct. And then you can send now. But as I said, we normally want to schedule things for later. So you just click on the calendar and you pick the date that you want to send it, the time. So that's 8:35 a.m. You can get early results. So it will email you early results, but I don't really do that because I find that I can go into my account and look at it anyway. And then a really very cool feature is this resend to non-openers. So I don't use this all the time. I use it sparingly because I know that people will get annoyed with me resending them. And I usually do it for things like register for my webinar or come to this event or here's an offer. So it will just send people a reminder, and you can pick from between 3 and 7 days, and you can actually change this subject line as well. So you might want to make it something different. And what it will do is, however many days after you've specified, it will look at the results for the email that you sent, and it will send that same email again to everyone who did not open it the first time round. So I think that's a really cool feature, and it gives you a second go at your list. And again, but make what you're sending to them valuable. Don't do it every single time. And I do find that when I use it, I do get an uplift in my opens and my clicks, just because people are reminded about it a second time. So once you're happy with everything here, you just hit schedule, and that's it. The email is scheduled to go, and you can see here it's given you which list it's going to, who it's coming from, and once it's sent, you can take this email link and you can share it on social media. So you can either do it here, or again, when it's sent, you can schedule posts here. So you can schedule posts on social media and share your newsletter over your social networks. So that's a really cool feature that helps you to do that. I haven't set this up, so it's not connected to any of my accounts, but you can see it gives you images that you can use. You can customize this text, and once you've got accounts linked to it, you can connect it to a social account, and you can tell it how often you want it to go. So that's pretty much a whistle-stop tour of how to create a template, how to brand it, how to include images, how to add additional blocks to your email. We talked about social options, the ability to promote your social networks, but also to give your readers the option to share your newsletter on their social networks. We talked about the importance of previewing and testing your email, and the 2 new features. So the Inbox Preview, which is, I think it should be live very soon in all accounts, where you can activate it through that preview, through the test menu, and the email archive, which lets you archive up to 100 newsletters and publish them to your website. Gives you very simple instructions on how to do that. Once you've sent your emails, you want some reporting, right? So this is where you go for that. I haven't sent any campaigns yet, so this won't give me an in-depth report, but once you've sent things, this will give you an idea of the click rate and the open rate over time, bounces, the emails that have not been delivered, and the total sends that you've done. And then as you build out your newsletters, it will start giving you, it will give you a grid of newsletters that you sent, and give you those metrics in a grid, and I think you can take about 3 of the last 3 newsletters and compare the results for those. So that's quite good. You can go into individual reports and look at the metrics. So I'm just going to go into this one, which I used for something else, but it actually does have some metrics alongside it. So you'll be able to see that this one email has been sent to 6 people, it was opened 6 times, and you can see all those metrics there. And then you can dig in to the email, and this is what your newsletter will look like. So you can see what that looks like, and you can dig into the who opened it. So if I click on that, it will tell me who opened it. And for me, the reports are really the interesting bit, because that really helps me understand what's working and what's not, and what's turning people off my newsletter. For me, it varies from time to time as to how many people unsubscribe, and it never fails to surprise me on what they unsubscribe from, what they've received, and the reasons that they do it. But I don't worry too much about it, because these are people who don't want to be on my list, and I'd much rather that they unsubscribed than figure out, that they don't want this, but mark it as spam, because that really is detrimental to me, really. Oh, don't know why that's done that. Let's go back to here. So it's detrimental to my results, because the more spam reports you get, the more likely you are to be blacklisted by the internet service providers. So always give people a way to get out of your list. And I think we should be able to see in this preview down here, Constant Contact always provides an unsubscribe link at the bottom of emails, which means that your readers can unsubscribe really easily and don't mark you as spam. Okay, so that's the email part. I just quickly want to run you through some really cool features that Constant Contact has in addition to email marketing. The first thing is really new, is landing pages, and you might have seen people using really whizzy landing pages. I used to use lead pages. I stopped my subscription because I wasn't using it enough to make it worthwhile to keep paying for it. But now Constant Contact has this built within the tool. I don't see a need for me to have a landing page separate outside of Constant Contact. This gives you one page that lets people sign up to either, it's a straightforward join my mailing list, or you might have an incentive. There might be a cheat sheet or tips or something that you want people to hand over their details for, so that you can send it to them. And it's really, again, easy. It's the same as the tool, the email tool. You can not so much change this here, but within these menus here, you can customize. You can add your logo, you can change this text, you can change the description that's in the content, you can design it so you can make it look and feel more like your brand, change the fonts, the sizes, the button colors. So I could have that awful green, so you can see the button colors changed as we design it. What it lets you choose what you want, so what to collect. So I normally ask definitely for the first name, and the fewer pieces of information that you ask for, the more likely people are to sign up. So you can see now red stars appeared by the first name. And what is this setting? So I need to add it to a list, so I'm going to add people who use that to this list. And I can also customize the URL. So this bit I can change to whatever I want, so that I've got a customized URL. You can also do the same thing with the thank you page, so you can customize that in the same way. So I love this. I think landing pages is brilliant. I want to really change or transfer a lot of the very basic landing pages that I created in Constant Contact into these newer ones, because I think they look really cool. The other really cool thing about Constant Contact is the email automation, and this I love. You can either Definitely, I would recommend to have a welcome email for when people join your list. If you're on my list, you'll know you'll have received some form of welcome email series. You can send out a birthday email, so collect people's birthdays, and on or around their birthday, you can send them a message, either just wishing them a happy birthday or sending them some kind of present. Anniversary email, which is great for membership organisations. So if people need to pay you a membership fee every year, you can set this up so that this goes out automatically to people based on when their anniversary is. Automated series. So this is, as it suggests, a series of emails that start with a trigger. Let's just call this test series. And you select what your email trigger is. So they either open the email, they click a link, or they join a list. Now, I use the join a list one quite a bit, and I use it in conjunction with that landing page. So I've created a landing page using Constant Contact for my email marketing cheat sheet. So people plug in their details, they join a list. So I pick the list that is associated with that landing page. And then once they do that, you can set this. So I normally send it immediately, the first email, because they've signed up to get this thing. And then you create the email. So you can either create a new email or you can copy an existing email. You create a new email in exactly the same way that I just showed you before. If you've got an email that already exists that you want to use, select it once you've clicked on here. And then you could just keep adding to the series. So you can add, I think it's up to, I want to say 15 emails to the series, which means that, you can use this for interesting things. Like you might have a free 7-day course that you want people to join, and that has got a welcome email, the 7-day thing. So they might have a welcome email as soon as they join, and then there's 7 days worth of content, and then maybe an offer at the end of it. So you've got 9 emails in total. So that's pretty cool as well. Let's just go back to the dashboard. The other things to note are ads. So right from within Constant Contact, you can do a Facebook and Instagram ad. So that's really cool. A lead ad. So if you want people to join your list specifically, you can do a lead ad. And you can do Google ads. And the neat thing is that this helps you put people right into your Constant Contact account. You're not shifting data from one place to the other. It's all happening in one place, saving you a ton of time. The other thing to take note of, I think you will have this event in there. Constant Contact is phasing it out because they've got quite a cool integration with Eventbrite, which lets you hook up your Eventbrite account to your Constant Contact account, and there is an Eventbrite block right within the email that you can pull through events from. So this is going to go away eventually, but if you have an invitation-only event that you want certain people to get, this is a good way to do that so that they respond to an actual invitation rather than it being public on Eventbrite. Got an online survey tool as well, which is quite cool. Lets you gauge what your readers want to know about. Gives you, all sorts of templates that you can use, or you can start your surveys from scratch. Okie pokey. So let's go back here. So there are really only 3 simple steps that you need to do. So you've got how to put together an email. Go back and look at the video, watch me do it. It's really simple. So the next thing you need to do is just get a contact list together, right? Get a contact list together of maybe your neighbour or family, friends. Ask people if you can just test and put them into your Constant Contact account. Your trial account lets you send up to 100 emails. So you might as well test this and, see how it really works. create that email and hit send. The hitting send bit is quite nerve-wracking, and I'll tell you that my very first newsletter went out to me and my husband because that's all I had on my list. But I knew that I wanted to get started, and waiting until you've got a big list is, that could be forever because you've got a million other things to do as well. So making this more routine and giving people an idea of the content that you're going to send before they join is really good because they want to know that. And then just watch what happens, right? Watch and see what happens and look at the reporting. And as you start adding more emails and doing more regular email marketing, those reports will absolutely tell you the content that your readers love and the content that is a bit meh. And you can start changing things to give people more of what they love. But it will also help you identify your super fans, right? There are people on my list who open and read what I send every week. And every now and again, just as a surprise, I send them something nice. It might be an email. If I can track down their address on their website, I'll send them something in the post just to say thank you. Thank you for reading my newsletter every week. So do those 3 things to help you get started. So the last thing, we just come back to this offer. You're all in this, so you've all started off with 60 days in your trial. Log back into your account. If you can't remember your details, let me know, but log back into your account. It will tell you how many days you have left. Do those 3 things. Get a contact list together, create your email and send, and look and see what the results are. And if you love it as much as I do, this offer is for you. You save 30% off your first 3 months. So Constant Contact starts at £18 a month, which includes tax, and you get 30% off the first 3 months. And if you send a few emails in those first 3 months, you will really see that it's making a big difference to your business. So that's the code for you. You enter that at the checkout in your account when you pick your plan. I can't believe there are no questions. Has anyone got any questions at all? I can't believe that not one person has got a question. Who's on? Cheryl, Margaret and Sandy, do you have any questions at all? Please tap them into the box. Has this at least given you a good overview of how to set up an email in Constant Contact, or have I completely confused you? Oh gosh, nobody wants to answer me. Okay, if there are no questions and no feedback, Margaret says all good. Thank you, Margaret. Phew, I was left hanging there. I was thinking, oh, no one's listening. If you have any questions after this, let me know. I will answer them as quickly as I can. A quick reminder that this recording will be coming to you. It's got to go to webinar first and then onto my YouTube channel before I send it out. And I'll send you details of the offer as well in that email. Do please have a go in Constant Contact. I think you'll love it. I think you can see how easy it is to build an email. And I just think in this day where social media networks are going down and you can't do anything, for me, email marketing is the one kind of solid, reliable, tool in your marketing toolbox. So thank you for joining me today. I will hopefully see you all very soon at an event. I've got 2 events coming up actually. I've got my webinar in September and a workshop in October, both of which are on my Facebook page if you want to check those out. And I hope to see you at one of those soon. Take care and have a great week.